which running back tandem is most impressive? And you can go any direction you want, any conference.
Okay. I see a lot of talent in the NFC South. You got the addition of Adrian Peterson, who's won an NFL MVP, obviously helps. There are a lot of ones that are good on paper, but I'm going to go with one that has results. And that's Tevin Coleman and Devontae Freeman down in Atlanta. I think they really proved themselves on a national stage, even though they didn't end up winning the Super Bowl. I think that they have the pass catching dimension and they're really good at rushing, and they have that offensive line now. I know they're probably going to take a little step back because of the departure of offensive coordinator Kyle Shanahan, but I don't see the drop off being too steep for the Atlanta running backs.
All right, now again, I hate to keep doing it, but I'm gonna have to agree with you. I definitely.
The Panthers fan.
No, I mean, I just don't know I'm going to get out of McCaffrey. I mean, if McCaffrey ends up being an 1,000-yard back and Stewart's an 1,000-yard back, then hey, I might change my opinion next year. But, I definitely think that I definitely agree with the results part of it. I haven't seen the Minnesota Vikings running game per se with Latavius Murray and Cook and Jerick McKinnon. So you don't know what to expect out of them. Same thing with maybe the Eagles with LeGarrette Blount and Darren Sproles, or like the Saints. AP, how will he bounce back from his injury? Now they did draft Alvin Kamara from Tennessee.
That's good on paper.
So if that works out, and I think they have Travaris Cadet. I don't know if he's going to be in that picture as well, but the Saints definitely could rival that. And like I said, the Panthers, McCaffrey, Stewart, Whitaker. So that'll be interesting. And then Cincinnati is another team I look at. Jeremy Hill, Giovanni Bernard, Mixon. So those are some other teams, but I definitely agree with you. Tevin Coleman, Devonta Freeman, definitely going to lead that way.
And I don't even think we touched on the top two teams from last year in rushing. That's the Bills and the Cowboys. But also, something just to note here is that a lot of these, like I had Tennessee and Carolina, they also have quarterbacks that can run.
Oh, yeah, I totally forgot about Tennessee,
too.
Yeah,
so taking those out of the equation, I think, yes, Atlanta, that's a consensus pick. Mm-hmm. So my next question is, which NFL superstar will fall off the map in 2017?
Oh, wow. This is the one I had to think about the longest.
This is huge, yeah.
You could go
a lot to choose
any direction here. And, wow. See, this was hard because you had to think about a player that's been pretty solid the past couple of years that I think would fall off. And this one's definitely going to surprise you.
Okay.
Doug Martin from Tampa Bay.
And okay.
I'm going to say Doug Martin, and I don't think it's necessarily going to be because of his talent, but I think it's going to be just why the team is going to put him in the situation he's in. He's already on a suspension. He's been on thin ice. I mean, they were this close to cutting him pretty much. And I think they drafted Jeremy McNichols, a rookie out of the 5th round from Boise State. And I think that he's definitely going to get some time in the preseason. If he shows up big, he could start. And, he could be that sleeper running back, maybe the fantasy waiver wire pickup that, comes out of nowhere, picks up 1,000 yards. And, Doug Martin.
Muscle hamster.
Yeah, the muscle hamster. He doesn't like that nickname. I love it, actually. But
yeah, me too.
He always says, "Oh, don't use that nickname. You can't make up your own nickname."
Once you have muscle hamster, it's not going away.
But I really think Tampa Bay, and then they have Jaquez Rogers. He had a pretty solid game against Carolina. I remember he torched our defense. So,
okay.
But I think that if Jeremy McNichols and Rogers get going, Doug Martin might not see the light of day, and I think he might fall off.
Oh, yeah. You're really hyping up your rivals there. First, we got the Falcons, and now it's
I talk so much about Tampa Bay. I actually like Tampa Bay. I mean, I know there are rivals, but I'm liking what they're doing.
Yeah.
I might not like them in 5 years when they beat us, but...
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to stay in the conference, and I narrowed this down to quarterbacks because I feel like that's really what this game's about. And I believe that Carson Palmer will fade into oblivion and possibly retirement.
Okay.
He had a very strong season in 2015, but I think that it was a mirage. His whole career, he's been this Bengals and Raiders quarterback who hasn't gotten pretty much anything done. You look he's only had one career playoff win, and I do believe that he's overrated. He took a big step down last season. He's a guy that's dealt with a lot of injuries, and for this Cardinals team to succeed, he has to do what he does best, and which is the long ball. And with a team that I feel is falling further and further out of playoff contention, even in a weak division, I think that Carson Palmer, he's getting way up there in age. 37. He's been turnover prone. He had 14 last year. I feel like this is probably going to be his last season as a starter on any team.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Now, it's funny. I actually thought about picking Carson Palmer, but something tells me I think he has one season left. I think Larry Fitzgerald, I think this is going to be his last season.
Yeah, he does have, and he has Johnson as a running back, so
David Johnson, helps. I think that's going to help expand it. So I think Palmer definitely will continue to regress into retirement, but I think the Cardinals will be that kind of French team, maybe like a 8-8, 9-7, that maybe something goes their way, they could sneak in. But I definitely agree with you with Carson.
Okay.
So back to my question now. This is one directed towards you. I know you'd like this one.
Oh, yeah.
But do you think Tony Romo will end up back in the National Football League?
Yeah, my boy Tony Romo. I got my Tony Romo jersey.
All right.
And I was honestly so happy when he decided to retire. Not only because he's had a great career and he deserves some rest going into the CBS booth. Just their top position already. But I cannot bear to see him in any other uniform, and I can't see him in any other uniform. I don't think he's going to come back, even if the Cowboys have a need at the position. I think he's done. I don't think he's going to pull a Brett Favre.
All right, yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think Tony Romo, he's going to spend about 2 minutes on that couch, and he's going to be like, all right, I'm not coming back. He's going to be CBS. He's going to I think he's going to do a really good job supplanting on CBS.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I think Tony Romo, he's had a pretty solid career. I know he's been chastised for, I guess choking in big games, but it's not all his fault. And
yeah, I know a lot about that.
I know you do. But I think that ultimately he's not going to come back to NFL.
Okay. So now we go with which game are you most excited to watch?
All right, now again, I cheated, but I picked 2 games. All right.
I picked 3.
3, okay.
I cheated even more.
I almost picked 3, and I'll match you with that. I'll match you with 3 because I had another one, but I took one off. I'm gonna start out with the one I took off, the obvious pick, the Super Bowl rematch, 2018
I had that
game,
on my list too.
New England versus Atlanta, and they were going to make that the opening game, but after the Carolina debacle, Graham Gano missed a field goal, and Ron Rivera complained about how it affected their season, so they decided not to do that this season. But, that's definitely going to be the game everyone's going to watch to see how Atlanta will respond to all the criticism they've received for not running the football in the second half, being basically conservative by throwing a lot of screens or not keeping their pedal on the metal, and then going 3 and out, letting New England back into that game, turning the football over. Devonta Freeman couldn't pick up a block. So I think it's really going to be a good game, but I just think I'll give you a little prediction for every game as well, just as an added bonus, but I just think New England's going to take it. I think Atlanta is going to have
home field certainly helps.
Yeah, home field for New England. So I think the Patriots are going to continue to win that. My second game to watch, Week 1. This is the game every season. Dallas versus the Giants. every
Annually.
yeah, definitely. Is it on Sunday Night Football? I can't remember if it is. They usually put it on there, but even if it's not, I think Dallas, again, coming off of a big 13-3 season, this is going to be, I think, a statement game. I know it's week 1. I know even if they go 0-1, they could still, have another 13-3, 12-4 season. But I think this is a big statement game. I know they got swept by the Giants last year. That's their biggest rival, I think, right now. Some people would argue the Redskins, but I think right now the Giants are their biggest thorn in their foot right now. And I think if they could, avenge their losses last season and get off on the right note, I think that the Cowboys will be right back. And
so you're saying they'll do more for the Cowboys than the Giants?
I really do. I think the Giants, I mean, they're a team that's fluky anyway. I mean, we've seen all their 9-7 seasons, and I don't think it'd really hurt them if they even started like 0-2 or 0-3. I don't really recall their schedule right now, but I think the Giants could be a team. I think the season that they beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl, they started 0-2 or 0-3, if I can remember correctly. So I think the Giants, they're a team. They're gritty. They have a good defense, but I think it means more to the Cowboys and their confidence than it does for the Giants. I'm going to take Dallas, though. I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to finally get a win against the Giants. And
that's an 8:30 game, just as a note. It's NBC Sunday Night Football.
Okay,
week 1.
That's what I thought. They usually put it on prime time. And then my third game, again, you're going to see a theme here with me and Tampa Bay here. But New England versus Tampa Bay. And I think for Tampa Bay to be considered a team on the rise, they're going to have to beat a really good team. You can't beat all these mediocre teams and expect teams to really respect you. Even if the Buccaneers started 3, 4, 5-0, they're going to have to beat a marquee team for teams to say, "Uh-oh, here comes the Bucs." And I think this game here, Thursday Night Football, is really going to determine how the Bucs season, if they can make the playoffs or not. And I look back, again, this show has been a lot of NFC South based, but a couple years ago, 2013 Panthers versus the Patriots on Monday Night Football. I think it was Week 11, and the Panthers were 6-3, but they hadn't really beaten that great of a team yet. And they were facing Tom Brady. They were looking to go to the Super Bowl. And Cam Newton had to come in there, and they ended up winning with about a minute left in the game.
Oh, the pass interference.
Yeah, the pass interference with Luke Kuechly. That's debatable. I mean, I have my opinions on that, but we'll keep it PG. But anyway, I think that this is that type of a game where if the Buccaneers are going to be considered a contender, they're going to have to win this game. And I think I'm going to take New England, though. But I still think that's not really going to affect the Bucs as it did the Panthers. I think the Panthers, that really propelled them to do good that season in 2013. But I think New England will win this game, but I think the Buccaneers will still be in it.
Okay. So for mine, I'm going with a trio of Week 17 games because that's where it really matters.
Okay.
So I'll take it out west first with the Kansas City at Denver. Both of these are going to be playoff contenders, certainly. And I think that this is one that could determine the division. Another one is Carolina Panthers at Atlanta Falcons. I think those are the two best teams heading into the season, and that could be huge. And another one out west, Arizona Cardinals at Seattle Seahawks. That's been a really good rivalry the past couple seasons, and I kind of want to see if the Cardinals have one last playoff chance. That's where I go.
Yeah, I definitely thought about that Seattle-Arizona game you're talking about. And I really think, like, Arizona, there's just something telling me they have something left. I know a lot of people are writing them off.
The Kurt Warner, they had something left then.
I